and welcome to another episode of Melstock. Actually, this is the new episode of Melstock, the first one we are filming here in London. So thank you so much, Samantha, to be with me today on this very first episode.
Thanks for having me.
So I'm so glad to talk about Samantha Freedman's journey as an entrepreneur. So you are the founder of Curate Beauty. So you're going to explain us what is it and explain it why you decided to launch your own company. So let's go.
Let's go. My background is that I have been a beauty journalist for the last 10 years. I started, my first job was at Tatler magazine. I've worked at Grazia, Look, Stylist magazine, and always writing about beauty and health. And I absolutely loved that side of things. The beauty industry fascinates me. I get excited still today about new innovations within skincare and opening up a palette and seeing something that I love or the colours that I just want to get on my face. It still excites me, and I met some amazing people working at the magazines, got to travel, doing fashion weeks around the world.
So you came to Paris?
I came to Paris, of course. Love Paris. My job was quite diverse for the each magazine is so different as well. But how it kind of led me to Curate Beauty was that I was speaking to so many different brand founders, and all of them had similar issues when they came to finding good stockists. So I thought I could bridge the gap between beauty brand and fashion retailer and enable fashion retailers to sell beauty but with an expert on hand to tell them what to buy and what they should be adding to their stores and their websites. The business idea has evolved quite a bit now, and so we do still work with fashion retailers, but now also with hair and beauty salons and also fitness studios as well. So curating kind of the bathroom amenities so that they're on brand and they share a similar ethos to the brand themselves. And yeah, that's in a nutshell.
That's so cool. And you know, like, so for the audience who's watching, so you had a career in journalism. Sometimes people say they're a bit afraid, you know, of taking this leap, like to launch their own ideas. How come you did it?
I thought about it for a while. It wasn't a snap decision that I woke up and said I have to start my own business. I thought about it, and I was in a really great position where I was lucky enough to use the contacts around me as sort of a soundboard. So I met with PRs for different brands, marketing, other journalists, fashion journalists, and I pitched them kind of my idea, and I got feedback as to what they thought of it. People were very honest, and everyone was very positive. And so what I wanted to do, they said, if you're going to do it, you have to do it now, because the retail space is changing so much and department stores are closing down, independents are coming up, online's happening, but no one really knows where to go. The idea is a great concept to enable other brands to become a bit more of a lifestyle retailer, selling lots of different categories, including beauty. Also, a really interesting thing that my dad said to me was, you have three things to think about. You have, do you love your job? Is there a great progressional plan? And are you making lots of money? And I loved my job, but I didn't see a progression because publishing is tough and there's so many people being made redundant, magazines closing. So I didn't really see a future for myself in publishing. And I wasn't making a lot of money as a journalist, and I knew I had a good skill set that I could set to something. I just had to find out what it was.
Exactly, and that's how Curate Beauty came, actually. So what was, Samantha, the first step you took when you wanted to turn your idea into this business? What did you do first?
So I spent the first few months meeting as many people as I could to tell them about the concept and sign them up. So they were beauty brands. So it was a bit of a chicken and an egg situation, because the fashion retailers were interested, but they wanted to know what beauty brands I had. And the beauty brands were interested, but again, they wanted to know what fashion retailers I had. So I thought my expertise lies in beauty, and I know a lot of people in the beauty industry. So I'll start by collating a collection of beauty brands that are interested in what I'm doing. So I've now signed up about 250 beauty brands.
Wow.
Just telling them about my idea, asking them about their stockists at the moment and if they would be interested in diversing away from their current models of kind of department stores and quite traditional routes.
Yes.
Once I got them, I was then able to go to retailers and say, this is my portfolio almost of brands that you could pick from, but we also, as more of like customizable option for them, we can reach out to other brands that aren't within our portfolio. So I'm constantly adding into the mix.
Yes. And how did you find your first retailer?
So actually, my first retailer was my best friend, who has her own fashion brand. It's called Jaded London, and it's a streetwear brand. And I kind of asked her what she thought of it. She loved the idea. She said she was looking to add a selection of, it's kind of festival fashion, so lots of sequins, lots of cat suits, colour, prints.
And what did you learn, Samantha, through all the retailers you've been talking to? If you could give like some tips about like maybe like convincing or the sales pitch, what would you say? I mean, because maybe it's difficult for every time you have to pitch your idea. What are your advices on that?
If they can do it all on one website, it makes so much sense. You're getting to more people on your website for longer because there's more things to browse through. Your basket spend increases because you're adding more things into your trolley. It also boosts sales. So we've seen amazing increase in sales from the other retailers that have added beauty, and it's also enabled them to go into other categories like homeware, men's grooming, and kids as well. So by adding beauty, it's given them the next step to go into make their brand more of a lifestyle brand.
Definitely. And did every retailer say yes to you the first time, or did some people say no? And how did you react?
Yeah. So I wish everyone said yes.
We wish everyone would say yes to what we do. But
you learn from the ones that don't. And I remember quite early on going into a pitch with a big fashion retailer, and they grilled me quite hard.
Really?
And yeah, they asked me what I love about their brand, what the last things I bought at their brand were. They asked me a lot about their business of their brand. So I had to do a lot of research before I went, and of course I did, but now I kind of step it up a next level, and I kind of do much more research about the brand I'm going to, about the retailer. I also try and kind of look into and investigate the people I'm meeting, their background, what their past experience is, because I always find that's helpful when you meet them.
Really? In which way, for example?
So if I know that they've been at a brand that I may be working with, it's quite a nice connecting point. It might be something that they can utilise experience from that they might then talk about in our meeting. And it's I feel like it just looks like you've done your research. It looks like you've done your homework. You know who you're talking to. I think that you go in more confident. I definitely do now. Now that I've had that experience of them grueling me, I know to now be really prepared for my meetings.
Exactly, and it's super important to be prepared. And we all know that entrepreneurs face a lot of challenges. In your entrepreneurial journey, what were different challenges you had to face and still are facing today, maybe?
I think because the concept's new, explaining the idea is key, and making it sound as exciting as it is really important. It kind of involves consultancy, beauty buying and marketing all together, and because that doesn't exist at the moment, it's a brand new concept. So convincing people, or just taking the time even to listen to the concept, is key for me.
What are actually the advices you could give to entrepreneurs who definitely want to communicate to their brand? What should they do? Do they do like advertisement? How do you do for like just Add Beauty to get more like visibility?
So we have a newsletter that we send out every couple of weeks, trying not to bombard people too much, but just for awareness of what we're doing, and if we sign a new retailer, if we sign new brands, if we want to hero a brand that we're working with that we love. We also interview founders of the beauty businesses as well, and that actually gets the most traction because people are so interested.
Exactly.
I mean, that's why you did yours, but why people started their businesses and how they started it.
You're creating content through your brand. Exactly, yeah.
And Instagram as well is a great brand awareness for us. But I'm hoping to do a lot more marketing promotions for me, the business, overall in the next year or so. That's my goal.
And what drives you, like daily to really like keep pushing, keep really like, this is your vision, you want to like, maybe you could also talk about your vision. What drives you like daily? So
I think you have to love what you do. I love beauty. Like I said, I still get excited if I open a palette and it's got amazing eyeshadows inside. Or I read about a face cream and it's got these magical ingredients that have never been used together or something. I love that. So I think having a passion for what your business is or what you're doing is number one, so important. That's what you have to wake up every day and do, so you have to love it. I'm very motivated and very disciplined. Even if when I started, I was working at home. I'd get up every day, put my makeup on, get dressed, and sit at my desk. And so many people said to me, why do you even bother? Just sit in your pajamas. And it just, I don't know, it was like a mental...
I'm definitely like you. It's like, even though you're at home, you just want to be like,
You need to feel like you're ready for the day. And also, if I have to pop out to a meeting or I need to go to something, I feel like I'm ready and I can go.
And talking about discipline, I know we've been talking about this a bit off, like the importance of objectives. Can you tell a bit more about that?
Yeah, so I work really closely with my dad in starting the business. He's kind of been my mentor through the whole process. What's been brilliant advice from him is to set targets throughout the journey. So whether they're monthly targets, yearly targets, it basically gives you a structure to your business, especially when you're working on your own. I found that really helpful just to get me to the next stage, because I think when you're working, especially on your own, you can kind of just plod along and not get as much done as if perhaps you were in a team with constant deadlines. So set your own goals and set your own deadlines, and hopefully that's a good way to kind of keep things going.
That's a great advice. And I know, Samantha, you told me your father inspires you a lot. Is there anyone else that you met through your journey that inspired you, like that you learned from something?
There's been so many people. What I found is that maybe, I don't know if it's just beauty or being an entrepreneur or maybe even being a female, but there have been so many people that have offered advice, have given me help in the right direction, put me in touch with people. All those kind of little connections help, I think. I was lucky enough to interview Jo Malone,
so cool.
who was amazing, and she's kind of someone in the beauty industry that I've always admired. She had dyslexia when she was younger, and I also had dyslexia, and she really struggled with it growing up. Her career, I don't know if you've ever read her book, but it's amazing. But I interviewed her a bit about her life and her career, and I was petrified beforehand, but she was so amazing, and it was into an audience.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then everyone could kind of ask questions afterwards. But yeah, she was amazing, and I told her about my business, and she was so excited about it. And it's just nice to see how someone has grown from creating a brand almost from home to, sell it now to Estee Lauder for, she didn't disclose how much, but for a lot of money.
Exactly. And it's great. And talking about money, maybe that's my last question. We don't really often talk about money. Can you tell us a bit more about your relationship towards money? Like, what do you think? Maybe if you could give also advices to other female entrepreneurs about management, also about the money. And for example, I know your business, you didn't need funding, but for other people maybe that's an issue. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, because Just Add Beauty is a service, I didn't have to invest lots into a product to make it. So I was lucky in that sense that I almost just had to save enough money for my time to pay myself.
So you're paying yourself at the moment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I saved from my previous job so that I could afford to pay myself for the first few months of getting going before I had money coming in. Money's, I always think, a funny one, because especially from my background, it's never really like a talking point. Everyone's sort of a bit like, Don't talk about the money. That's just my position from being at a magazine. I wasn't at the forefront of talking about money, so that was quite a struggle for me. But I have now taken on somebody who looks after all my finances and logistics.
Great.
And that is probably the best thing I've ever done, because you start a business and you have to be great at everything overnight almost. You have to know how to create a website, know how to create a brand, also sell yourself, and that's all really difficult. And to do the finances as well, I find is really difficult. So I mean, I can do it and it's fine, but it just takes me a lot longer than for someone that is just naturally gifted with numbers and spreadsheets and things like that. So, I mean, it's probably not the best advice, but my advice is to get someone else that, if you're not good at something, get someone else that can do the things that you can't do, because you're not expected to be an expert in everything.
Exactly, and that's a really great advice. Great, Sam. So let's move on now to the Mail Stock Challenge. So 3 questions, different. So can you tell us, I'm curious to know, what is the app that you're using daily that you just can't get?
Probably Instagram.
Okay.
I mean, it's boring and everyone will probably, I mean, does everyone say the same? I don't know. But Instagram for me is an amazing way for me to find new brands, new retailers, through hashtags. If I'm looking for something quite niche, whether it's like a vegan lip balm or a sustainable hairbrush, I can find it so much quicker on Instagram than trailing through the internet. So yeah. Probably Instagram.
Great. Also curious to know, what do you do like to cut off from your job? I mean, your business. What do you do like for your self-love moments?
Exercise for me is a really good release. I find that love going to classes, love kind of just getting there, the music's on, I'm told what to do, and I don't have to think about anything else.
Great.
That for me is a switch off moment. I mean, even though you're activating your body, but your mind's almost like, I've left my work at home.
And it makes you feel really like relieved, or...
And if you're really stressed, I love, I go spinning, I love boxing, I also do a weights class, and I just find, it just alleviates, once I've got good music and I'm being told what to do, it kind of, I don't think about anything else, so I exercise.
And last question, as we are in the beauty industry, could you tell us a bit more about your routine? What are the products you're using? Because I don't know the audiences, but you really have nice skin. So if you could tell a bit of secrets, maybe.
Oh, secrets. I think that the number one, everyone should have a hyaluronic acid in their skincare regime. That is basically a really, really hydrating serum. It doesn't sound as scary as the name may suggest.
Acid is a bit.
Yeah. So a hyaluronic acid will basically plump your skin, give it all the hydration it needs, and make it look glowing and healthy.
Great.
And that works for any age, men, women, everyone just needs a hyaluronic acid every day. As boring as it is, SPF is essential. And a tip I've actually come across is, finding a good eye makeup remover is difficult, but if you use the same brand eye makeup remover as mascara, it definitely comes off better.
All right.
So I don't know whether there's some in-house testing there, but yeah, I find that works really well. And also, another tip, if you like candles, someone told me this the other day, which I think is really interesting. If your candle is just burning in the centre and it's not an even burn, so going all the way across, if you cover it in tin foil, silver foil, it will help the burn to go all the way around, so it won't waste your candle. Nice. So I thought that was quite interesting.
Great. Thank you so much for this interview. We learned a lot. Anything else you want to say to our audience before we end this episode?
I don't think so.
Follow
us on Instagram.
Yes, definitely. We're going to put all the links towards your Just Add Beauty. And if also people want to contact Sam, we have a little surprise. We will choose one person from the community to directly have a Skype call or video call with Sam to just ask her different questions if you want to go further this episode. So thank you so much, and I will see you on another episode of Mail Stock. That was so cool. Let's go.
Sorry.
Fine.